Come see this thing 1582. Good deficit spending, pursuing peace, good train building. This is a series where I summarize rantatonne posts made up of at least 3 things I have read, seen, or heard. First question, deficits are bad only when it's to do with trade? The people that were rightfully saying that different representation in jobs and income wasn't due to unfair racism or sexism or other sorts of isms that need government policy to achieve equity are now saying that different trade deficits and surpluses need government policy to achieve equity. Both of these whole things, these people demanding these programs, they're just jobs programs for selected voting bases and gibs for their own teams. They look at Z result of enriching themselves and argue from that. As such, they try to find an X that can add to Y policy that leads to their preferred benefit, and the X does not need to be well researched, but only credible enough to throw out in any surface level argument they get into. You don't have to be an Austrian economist like Bob Murphy on this Human Action podcast to just think of why this doesn't make sense. If surpluses are inherently bad, then is it bad that the grocery store has a trade surplus with you? Is it bad that with most of you listen to this, there's a trade imbalance of my creating of content and your consumption of content when it comes to the two of us? I'd prefer people just came out and said it's just better if people have jobs in the actual country, so let's do things to it, but don't pretend it's because of trade surpluses. Next, was the Putin-Trump summit a win-win situation? The summit happened. It'd be nice if it happened months ago, but this is something that probably 99% sure would not have happened in the politics as usual continuation of Kamala Harris administration. So there is that to it. I watched the walk-in, watched the post-summit presser sort of thing where they didn't talk to the press. And with that, they haven't really let out much. Zelensky and some Europeans are going to the USA. They'll be there on Monday. They'll have a talk, and I think there'll be more announcements then. But even you can see there's just very little for the press and the MSM and other regressives to actually spin out of what has come out. There's just consternation and holding of breath and wondering what's going to happen with this. And it's not just people on the left. This is people on the right. Like, oh, look, he flew those B-2s over Putin. Just a reminder that he can end him whenever. No, Putin knows about the military that the US has. He doesn't need to have this sort of thing. I don't think Trump was flexing like that. If he needed to flex and threaten him, he could have just done it when they got in the beast. Are Cali dems actually saving lives with high-speed rail delays? This section highlights a Brightline train, which is a privately ran train system in Florida, and it works really well, but I saw this news story covering it like killer train, an investigation into Brightline. Like, how is it a killer train? It's on a track. It's an active train track. If you stand on an active train track, eventually a train shall be passing at that location that you are in, and you are not strong enough to stop it. And it seems like Trump finally realized that I can't just keep running down this train track trying to avoid the Putin-driven locomotive of aggressive attrition and have any success of surviving this. When it comes to the rest of the Project Ukraine puppeteers, for me, it's a 50% chance that I get this entertaining result for political theater fans like myself. The Europeans get in there and they say, we're doing this ourselves. We don't care what you're saying. We're going to liquidate the Russian money that we have, headshot trust in their banking systems, then figuratively just say, Leroy Jenkins, and just run down the track and just smash into the train. But for the sake of human lives, I hope they're more sensible and just admit we now live in a multipolar world.